What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about INFJ Duality and identity dissociation. So as we know, the NITI loop is when the INFJ focuses its introverted intuition inward, and instead of resorting to FE, it resorts to TI, which is the lesser developed of the functions. And it's like a retreat that's based on this unstable response to either overstimulation, fear, uncertainty, to which one of two potential outcomes can occur, right? So NI either resorts to FE or it resorts to TI, right? The problem though is when it refers to introverted thinking, FE takes a backseat. There's no new information that is being presented to the INFJ, and so a lot of whatever information is already in their brain is going to get just glossed over again and again and again. This can be bad because, let's say for example, you have a death in the family, you lose a loved one, right? And you're in bed, you're depressed, you got these memories on repeat, and you just cannot seem to break that thought pattern of the past. That's kind of that paralyzing effect of NITI. It suffocates an INFJ's creativity. That's ultimately leads to depression. On the other hand, a way in which TI could be good is, let's say you just get back from this immersive trip, right? You go to Serbia, you go to Iceland, you come back, you're not gonna wanna go to the club, right? You're not gonna wanna go see Tiesto play at Wonderland or visit your great aunt's hamsters quinceañera, right? No, you're going to want to sit and ruminate through those experiences that you just had. Exposing yourself to too much stimulation too quickly would do those experiences that you just had such a disservice, and so you want to just sit with what you got. And so I think in this context, that NITI loop can be good because it takes what you already have and it allows you to take those things in a more vertical, deeper manner. I like to think of it as TI is kind of like the kiddie pool, right? You're searching for jewelry, and it's good if you want to take one concept and blow it up. FE expands that kiddie pool, however, into like an ocean. And honestly, I feel like the only time the NITI loop is like really a bad thing is when it completely ignores FE and it resorts to SE to get it out of this cycle, right? Going to SE is like going to your alcoholic, degenerate stepdad for financial advice when, all of his credit cards are maxed out on Pornhub subscriptions and Hot Pockets. Like, it's a bad situation. So the question is how do these functions influence the dual nature of the INFJ, and how does this behavior manifest when making decisions? I don't know if you guys have seen this meme, but it's like Noah in the Ark, and he's like looking at this animal, and it has like feeling and thinking. And I love this because I feel like it captures the contradictory nature in such a simple picture. So when INFJs come to a crossroads in life and they're presented with the decision to go left or go right, they will choose this middle road despite maybe not having all of the minutia figured out or the micro decisions taken into consideration, but they will forge a middle path that combines both feeling and thinking, practicality and vision. And then the judging preference, the J, closes the gap between dreaming and doing. So you have this diverse scope of interests, which is, explains the reason why maybe on your day off, you want to watch like old cinema or something like that, but then afterwards you want to go read about psychology or quantum mechanics. It's like these two things aren't related, but you'll have an equal amount of curiosity and that same anticipation for both things despite them being entirely unrelated. Let's say you've got a 9-to-5 job, it's very monotonous, it's logical, so you're able to use your brain to problem solve, which feels good. A lot of TJ types are thriving in this position, but you can't help but feel almost a sense of just creative unfulfillment when you're off work. It's wanting diversity. It's a different type of stimulation that appeals to this desire to create art, a medium in which self-expression can grow, something that is going to add color to the INFJ's black and white world. All right, so now let's talk about INFJs and this idea of duality affecting their relationships and disassociating from their identity. So when an INFJ meets someone, they have this extensive, highly analytical thought process that takes place in which NI cross-examines someone's behavior, and using that data can subconsciously make alterations to their personality in what's known as mirroring. Someone might say, well, that's not being genuine. Honestly, I would argue that it's actually quite the opposite. Initially, INFJs will almost always show this preference towards relating to somebody on their terms. They have this innate curiosity to understand what makes a person tick, how they perceive life, what their values are, and sometimes they would rather just listen and observe and actually miss out on an opportunity, in this case, to talk about themselves, because they want to truly get inside the mind of someone else. I remember growing up and my dad would always say things to me like, son, you need to talk more, you need to not be so quiet. Or he'd say things like, when people ask you something, you need to give better answers. And now, my dad and I have a good relationship. But anyways, I thought about this. I was like, man, why was I so quiet back then? Because now I would say, honestly, I'm pretty outgoing. But in those formative years of little Alden's journey into adolescence, he was a little bit of a shy boy. I think maybe INFJs can fear that their silence or maybe their lack of input into something is misinterpreted as disinterest or indifference, when in reality that's the furthest from the case. They're just taking things in, they're processing it through their mind. So anyways, let's take this a step further and talk about this idea of disassociating when playing a character. So INFJs will essentially formulate this character, sometimes largely based on the ideals of whomever they're interacting with, as a means to test the compatibility of the relationship, or perhaps meander their way into a situation that provides them with personal gain, or even evade a potentially hazardous situation. Like Leonardo DiCaprio, for example, in Catch Me If You Can. This was an early 2000s film where the FBI just break in and they start questioning him, interrogating him, and he's just being nonchalantly chill.
Hands on your head.
Oh, that's the new IBM Selectric.
Put your hands on your head.
Change the print type in 5 seconds.
Shut up!
Pop out the ball.
Put your hands on your head. Put your hands.
He's got over 200 checks here.
Hands
of India
on your head.
Drafting. He even has little payroll envelopes addressed to himself.
Put it down. Drop it!
Relax. You're late, all right? My name's Allen, Barry Allen, United States Secret Service. Your boy just tried to jump out the window.
It is a calculated misdirection that creates this phantom, this gesture of oneself that the INFJ will send to play this required character in whichever setting, while the main operator is somewhere hidden in the back rooms in an undisclosed location. Think of Mystique from Marvel's X-Men, for example.
How about now?
I prefer the real Raven.
And what's interesting about this behavior is that as soon as the INFJ suspects a certain level of suspicion surrounding this character that they've created, they might intentionally create a new obstacle of unpredictability that would make that person second guess their perceptions. And from here, the INFJ can kind of go in one of 3 different directions. Either they create more obstacles, dispose of this character entirely and just create a new persona, or bring their guard down and allow themselves to be seen. You as an INFJ feel safe with this person, so you're willing to take the risk of being hurt because you see that there is potentially an opportunity for intimacy or some emotional connection to form with this person, and so you view this is a safe environment for you to be yourself. Giving someone access to your innermost parts, that can be really terrifying, especially if you've had trauma in the past. So I applaud you for doing that, for choosing to open yourself up despite maybe the last time being hurt or not going over so well. So it takes much more strength to be vulnerable with someone than it is to be cold and calloused towards the world. So anyways, guys, I hope this video helps. That concludes it. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.